Erwin Rommel, also known as the Desert Fox, became the most popular general at home and gained the open respect of his enemies with his spectacular victories as commander in the Afrika Korps during World War II. Rommel's father was a teacher, as his grandfather had been, and his mother was the daughter of a senior official. A career as an army officer began to be fashionable even among middle-class southern Germans after the establishment of the German Empire in 1871. Thus, notwithstanding the absence of a military tradition in his family, Rommel, in 1910, joined the 124th Württemberg Infantry Regiment as an officer cadet. In World War I, Rommel fought as a lieutenant in France, Romania, and Italy. His deep understanding of his men, his unusual courage, and his natural gift of leadership showed promise of a great career. In the Prussian-German army, a career on the general staff was the normal avenue for advancement. Yet Rommel declined to take that road. Both in the Reichswehr of the Weimar Republic and in Adolf Hitler's Rembrandt, he remained in the infantry as a frontline officer. Like many great generals, he possessed a pronounced talent for teaching and was accordingly appointed to posts at various military academies. The fruit of his battle experiences in World War I, combined with his ideas on training young soldiers in military thinking, formed the main components of his military textbook, Infantry Greift, about infantry attacks, which received high initial esteem. And in 1938, after Austria's annexation by Germany, Colonel Rommel was appointed commandant of the officers' school in Wiener Neustadt, near Vienna. At the beginning of World War II, he was appointed commander of the troops guarding the Führer's headquarters and became personally known to Hitler. Rommel's chances to prove himself as a commander came in February 1940 when he assumed command of the 7th Panzer Division. He had never commanded armored units before, yet he quickly grasped the tremendous possibilities of mechanized and armored troops in an offensive role. His raid on France's Channel coast in May 1940 provided the first proof of his boldness and initiative. Less than a year later, in February of 1941, Rommel was appointed commander of the German troops dispatched to aid the all-but-defeated Italian army in Libya. The deserts of North Africa became the scene of his greatest success and of his defeat at the hands of a vastly superior enemy. In the North African theater of war, the Desert Fox, as he came to be called by both his friends and foes, because of his audacious surprise attacks, acquired a formidable reputation, and soon Hitler, who was impressed by such success, promoted him to field marshal. Rommel had difficulty following up these successes, however. North Africa was, in Hitler's view, only a sideshow. Nonetheless, despite the increasing difficulties of supply and Rommel's request to withdraw his exhausted troops, in the summer of 1941, Hitler ordered an attack on Cairo and the Suez Canal. Rommel and his German-Italian army were stopped by the British 60 miles from Alexandria. At that time, Rommel won astounding popularity in the Arab world, where he regarded as a liberator from British rule. At-home propaganda ministry portrayed him as the invincible people's marshal, but the offensive against Egypt had overtaxed his resources, and at the end of October 1941, he was defeated in the Second Battle of El Alamein and had to withdraw to the German bridgehead in Tunis. In March 1943, Hitler ordered him home. In 1944, Rommel was entrusted with the defense of France's Channel coast against a possible Allied invasion. The master of the war of movement then developed an unusual inventiveness along the coastal defense. From his experience in North Africa with Allied air interdiction, Rommel believed the only successful defense of the beaches lay in preventing the enemy, a bridgehead, by all possible means. To do so, he boldly advocated the placement of reserve forces immediately behind coastal defense works for counterattacks. His superiors, mostly Gerd von Rundstedt, demurred, however, insisting on a more traditional placement of reserves farther behind the lines to maximize the force's potential range of movement after the place of invasion became known. This disagreement and the dissonance it fostered within organizations weakened the effectiveness of the German defense when the invasion finally came along the Normandy coast. And at some point in 1944, Rommel grew doubtful of Germany's ultimate prospects in the war and Hitler's capacity to face reality and make peace with the Western powers. In the spring of 1944, some of Rommel's friends who had joined the clandestine opposition to Hitler approached Rommel and suggested to him that it was his duty to take over as head of state after Hitler had been overthrown. Rommel did not reject the suggestion, but the men who wanted to extricate Germany from the war never revealed to Rommel that they planned to assassinate Hitler. They knew that Rommel did not accept the idea of murder for political ends. He had invariably disregarded any execution orders given to him by Hitler. When the invasion began, Rommel tried on several occasions to point out to Hitler that the war was lost and that he should come to terms with the Western powers. And on July 17, 1944, at the height of the invasion, Rommel's car was attacked by British fighters and forced off the road. It somersaulted and Rommel was hospitalized with serious head injuries. And in August, he had recovered sufficiently to be able to return to his home. In the meantime, after the failure of the attempt on Hitler's life on July 20th, Rommel's contacts with the conspirators had come to light. Hitler did not want the People's Marshal to appear before the court as his enemy, and hence to be taken to the gallows. He sent 2 generals to Rommel to offer him poison with the assurance that his name and that of his family would remain unsullied if he avoided a trial. On October 14th, he took the poison, thus ending his life. He was later buried with full
premium forever love necklace to my beautiful love. Buy this necklace, click my YouTube video description product link, and shop now.